Hey, everybody.
Good morning, all.
Hey,
Good to
Grant.
see you guys logging in.
Yeah. So I know it's a little bit different. We normally do these in person in the office, but Mother Nature, threw us a little bit of a.
She had a different
She
objective.
did. She's like, you
So,
know what? You guys should stay home today, and so we did. So, but we're still going to kind of go through the whole sales meeting and talk to you guys. You guys end up with Ming and I though, instead of just me kind of going along and doing the whole interesting, funny banter and my own quirky way. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. So hope you guys are safe and dry
well,
and not get
honestly,
some flippers.
I
So
was out for about an hour and a half trying to make it to airport. I wasn't even there halfway there. The road was just conditioned for hydroplanes, so we call off the meeting. And plus, of course, a tornado warning.
yeah,
So, for us, it's more important for you guys to be safe than it is to try and make it
yeah,
physically today.
no big
It
deal.
was not conducive.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into our monthly sales meeting. So I want to start off with a bit of news, right? So our first news here is that did you know that the buyer activity has bottomed out? Like this is, and I'm seeing a lot of this kind of stuff going on. The only problem is that's wrong. Okay, that's very, very wrong. It may have been the case in November, but all your housing data is normally 3 months behind. And so if you're watching, hey, you know what, sales is
The
bottom, things
news.
things are down, like that. Now in November when rates were 8%, October and November,
Absolutely.
that was hurting us. We could feel it. We saw that in the number of transactions. What we're seeing right now, we had more transactions as a brokerage started last week than we had all of last year. In 1 week, we were rocking all, and so this year has started off. And so please don't get trapped into believing that there's not activity going on, that people aren't buying houses, that kind of stuff, right? So, every 2 years,
7 million newborn babies
and guess what happens? They need to buy a house.
and 3 million marriages,
They need to buy a house.
1.5 divorces,
They need to sell a house and buy two houses.
maybe.
Yeah,
7 million turn 65 years old
they are going to need to sell a house.
and 4 million deaths,
They're going to need to sell a house, probably. Well, their family will need to sell a house.
4 million new jobs,
Those folks will definitely need to buy a house.
and 50 million job
They're
switches.
going to need to sell and buy a house, right? So there's still a lot of activity going on, regardless of what's happening with interest rates, those kind of things. Like understand that there's still a lot of activity going on out there, and it's important that you go get your piece of it, right? So these are our expectations for 2024, and first I'm going to tell you what they are, and then we're going to go back and show you the data points about what's leading us to believe what we see, or what we're expecting to see. And so first thing is that we really do feel that millennials are going to jump back in to take the lead in housing for 2024. Interest rates were one of the biggest things that hurts our millennials. And so, well, that I'd show you later. So anyway, home prices are going to rise by about 5 to 7%. We think that new listings are going to increase as well as our total inventory, which thank goodness we need more inventory. Overall, we're looking at home sales volume, just meaning the number of sales increasing by about 15%. And I think that's probably on the conservative side, actually.
Well, it is that, market is very local. So for Atlanta market, it is projected that we'll do better than your national
Yeah.
average.
So we think mortgage rates are going to decline, but they're probably still going to stay above 6. But we are seeing it, and we'll show you some information about that. We both think that housing is going to be really important in the 2024 election. I think that you're going to see a lot more people talking about different talking points around the election for sure, and that we also believe that change is going to come to our industry because it always does. The only constant we have is change. However, if we don't control the narrative, then it can have negative effects on us kind of going forward.
Absolutely.
Because what we're seeing right now is like for the first time since 2012, NAR had a decline in membership. Here in Georgia, membership was down by 1.62%.
Hey, really quick before we move on, for those of you who are still realtors, please, 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 and I know Mac has sent out the email on this, as well as text in reference to the Day of the Dome. It is important. It's a free event, y'all. And not only that, your local board member typically rent a bus and they will charter you from the board membership location to the actual dome. And you get to meet a legislator, get to rub shoulder with some folks that are influencer, as well as knowing what your RPAC money is going for and how important it is for our industry. So with a membership, I thought I'd throw that in and disrupt Alan's
Completely
presentation.
disrupt my
but
train
just
of
a little
thought.
bit.
That works great.
There you
You
go.
can tell we're married. All right. But yeah, so we are seeing a decline in membership, right? But why is it declining? Well, it's declining because agents aren't leave. I mean, agents aren't making enough money. Bottom line, the agents that leave don't have enough production. And so you see that like 75% of the folks who only have a couple of sales or less than $1 million leave the business by droves. So it really is about getting in there. And
Not
so
necessarily lead the business. They may change from a real tour to a real team member.
no, they're leaving the business too.
Some
Yeah.
of them are, some
Yeah.
are not.
So it's important that moving forward, right, that you treat your business like a business. When you understand that you bless us to hang your license with your broker, but your business is your business and you have to treat it like a business. And so it starts by having a morning routine. What do you do when you get up in the morning and you know, like if you owned a clothing store, what time, you know, what would that morning routine look like? You know, you have to have a schedule and you have to prospect every single day. Folks who have business plans tend, you know, has like a 50x improvement over folks who don't.
If you think about it, when you wake up in the morning, you know exactly what you got to do, then it's most likely you'll follow through. For folks that do not have a business plan or know how to get through the day, typically just flounder around for the day. And even though we do need to keep our schedule somewhat flexible, that's not the flexibility that we're talking about.
Yeah, we really like the whole, you know, win by noon adage where you kind of get in,
Mhm.
go in, do all your work, you know, in the mornings, that kind of thing. And then the afternoons and evenings, that's for
There's all
showings and
appointments and
client
stuff like that.
relationships and that
Mhm.
kind of thing. So create a business plan, get your finances in order, and then don't listen to the naysayers, negative news. There is a lot of business out there. You have to go get it. Now, if you're waiting for the business to come to you, I hate to break it to you, you're not gonna succeed. The business doesn't come to you. You have to go out and get it.
And I will tell you that, you know, everybody know about 5 different agents within a sphere. So what's going to make you stand out is that relationship type. You look at all these side buyers that historically try to basically use the internet to find your new home, but at the end of the day, their relationship sucks, and it's always the agent that service the client that is going to win the day.
Yep, exactly. All right. Excuse me. Let's move on. I want to talk about mortgage rates for a minute because you know we started off the year and everyone had you know a lot of mortgage rate predictions looking at you know I think we're going to finish the year at about 7.5. We might move into the sevens on the first quarter. Ha! No, that's not the case. We actually seen interest rates come down in a very aggressive way. Matter of fact, heading into the new year, our mortgage rates are on a very serious downward trend. Now, this past week they were flat, but we've been going down for about 9 weeks straight, and it doesn't look like it's going to abate. At least not for a little while here, because you know the Fed did come out. They did announce that they're looking at 3 reductions
Mm-hmm.
over the next year, and not that the federal funds rate does not directly affect mortgage rates, but it does indirectly because it affects the treasuries. And 30-year mortgage rates follow the 10-year treasury. And when those treasuries come down, so do interest rates. So we're seeing a lot of relief there. And I know that it's surprising that you know a couple of years ago, if you said, "Man, I'm really hoping for a low 6% rate," people would think you were nuts. But when you say, "Look, 6% down from 8%," that's a pretty significant drop, right? I mean, you can see already the amount of drop that we've had kind of moving forward. And so this is really, really strong and powerful for us moving forward. And you know, I'm not trying to say that this is going to go drop back down to the threes, twos and threes. It's not. It will not. It will not do that again. You need to let your clients know that that was a once in a lifetime thing. It was artificially done. Like you know, the Fed was actually buying treasuries and those kind of things that really kept the rates down for a substantial amount of time. And a lot of folks kind of think, well, when they get back to 4 or when they get back to 3, I'm going to, no, that's not what's happening. And honestly, the data shows that the more people are coming in as interest rates are already abating, but there's no point thinking that I'm just going to wait until they get down to 3 and 4.
Back to the same doctrine that Alan's always preached, is it going to be more expensive to wait another year? Absolutely, because house always, look at the long-term trend, always appreciate.
Yeah.
It's never going to depreciate.
Well, and the thing is that like when you look at the difference between a 7% and a 6% mortgage rate, on a $250,000 house, it's about $160 a month. On a $450,000 house, it's almost $300 a month. It's a pretty significant drop. And so this is kind of where I see us kind of like I see us moving much closer into the 6s. I know just this past week, Sharon, our lender, she had an FHA for 6.2%. So we are seeing a lot of good information or good movement there as it moves forward. Now, one thing that we've been getting a lot of interest in and a lot of questions about is what documents do our buyers need to have? And so we're going to be printing this out, and this is going to be coming from the Wildfire Mortgage team, sharing out as far as like what do your clients really need to have, because a lot of our clients come to us for financial advice, and we're not really the best people to go for, but that doesn't stop them, right? They come to us for financial advice.
A source, because for them, all they know is that we're the real estate folks, and so therefore we should know all aspects in reference to real estate, if not have a reference to those specialties. And so a lot of folks kind of like when you first time apply for financial aid, or when you first time apply for a job, you will like to know how to write a resume, different things like that. So you go check the source. So for us, we're the source for buying a home, and therefore they relied on us to at least have some type of knowledge about the whole process.
So we're going to be making these available in the offices when we actually get back, swim back into the offices. Kind of thing. Yeah. But as far as just being able to share out what is really, like what do our clients need to bring? Because honestly, it really is not that extensive, right? Like identity and income, you need a driver's license, W-2, tax returns. And then, only if you're self-employed or retired, do you need additional. Then you have to go through your personal assets. And then, and if there's any kind of, bank statements, investments, and then any property information if you currently own property.
And some people do take offense that why do you need all this information? Well,
they're loaning you a buttload of money. That's why.
That's because they're trusting you that you are a legitimate person or entity buying this property.
Yep.
Because there's too many hackers, fraudsters, and folks that are imitating other folks who have good credit and not really the person who's actually purchasing.
Yep. Exactly. All right. Now, one thing that
straw buyers, that's what they are.
All right. Now, we do want to also look at like what's our market doing right now. So let's start looking at that. And so we kind of want to start off. And so what's happening with prices? Everyone's like is prices dropping or prices going down? No. All right. And so, you can see that the top is from Georgia MLS, the bottom is from FMLS. And so Georgia MLS had an increase, last month of about 6.9%. 9% overall was the property value increase in the FMLS region. And so you can see that overall, year over year, last year for 2023, we had a 7% property value appreciation,
which is above national average of 5.5.
It is, but it's also above our traditional norm. Real estate on average appreciates at 4.4% for the last 50 plus years.
All right.
And so we're still above average when it comes to that, but we're in the Sun Belt, which is a good place for us to be. And we're looking at pricing really kind of being in that same thing, in that same place. Now, last year, even though there was a lot of turmoil, when your clients say, hey, how's the market doing? This is what they want to know. This is the question, because they don't care how many houses sold. They want to know, is my house worth more today than it was yesterday? It might
be underwater, because everybody's got a still bad taste in their mouth when the market crashed back in 2007, 2008. So they want to ensure that they're not making a investment that is toward a negative.
Right, because for our buyers want to know that property values are increasing. Who wants to buy an asset and then feel like it's going to lose money?
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, like this is our average over the last 5 years. In Georgia, property values have increased by 72% for the last 5 years. I mean, close to 50% for the last 2 years, or 3 years. It's almost 50% property value increases. So all those people who are like, where'd all the $200,000 houses go?
Oh,
Well, when you look at that increase, well, that's where they owe. They're all $300,000 now.
well, they're available. They're just have a lot
Yeah.
of deferred maintenance or in an area that's not as desirable in
Yeah.
school district.
So overall, new listings. Hey, look, for the very first time, new listings are trending up in Georgia. We're up 2.2% over last year in new listings. So I'm glad to see more listings coming on the market. FMLS is still down a little bit, but we are starting. We've been seeing this trend for the last 6 months. We've kind of watched where it's just kind of inched forward. New listings inching up a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. It's been gaining more steam. And even though that on one hand you can say, well, we don't want to get back to where it's a crazy market, but like we need more houses to sell. We need more inventory out there. So overall, we're seeing our new listings stabilizing. You can see that we've really been bucking the trend on new listings coming onto the market. And then at the same time, that leads us to overall total active listings. Total active listings hit a positive, right? 0.4%, which I mean, I know it's not a big number, but look, the fact is for the entire last year, we had declining inventory.
Correct.
And so now the fact that we're kind of stabilizing, moving into the next year and seeing more inventory coming along, as well as interest rates coming down, this is a win-win. We're going to have more inventory, and we have more inventory than we had last year. We have more inventory coming. We have interest rates dropping more, and our interest rates are going to be going under last year. This is a really good thing for us moving forward. So our average days on market are still less than than the unicorn years. Our unicorn years, 2020, 2021, that's when the whole COVID thing happened. And so still it is less. However, we are seeing that trend up right now. I mean, the most recent trend shows that currently right now, we're at 69 days in Georgia MLS, we're at 39 in FMLS. Overall, our days on market is trending up. Okay. And so you can kind of see what's happened. We were in the 40s and 50s, and now we're in the 60s.
And that's because it's just remember, these days on market is a reflection of the interest rate. So when the interest rate was high, it's going to affect the December as well. And going January, that should come down a little bit just because the interest rate's a little lower.
Well, we have that going on. Also, some of it is seasonal. We lose almost 2 weeks of marketing in December anyway.
Correct.
A lot of folks don't want to show, don't want to list, that kind of stuff. That the weeks in Christmas and New Year's
is a little slower.
And so like there is some of that is definitely a seasonal issue on there going on.
And also we do have sellers still thinking that their house is worth this much when it's really not. And they're saying, well, if I just put it on the market, it will sell. That's not the truth.
Yeah.
Because as a compliance broker, I'm seeing more and more seller concession, more closing costs. I even have seller doing buy down points right now. And that's what makes it a much fuller offer versus a reduction in sale price.
So for listing agents, you need to know that, it's still a good market. Like when you compare us to before the pandemic, we're actually getting more offers in on properties than we were back in those days. A lot of sellers are thinking about the days post, during and right after the pandemic. Those years, we had a lot more offers on properties during those times. I know the summer of 2021, like it just didn't matter. You could just stick it out there and there was going to be 10 offers on the property.
At least.
So that being said, we are still trending up. There's still a lot of activity going on out there. And so I guess I want you to see these numbers and understand there's still a lot of things happening. Don't get down and don't listen to any of the national news on stuff, because like this is what's really going on out there.
One of the most impactful thing that I remember Alan say to our kids is that You can wake up, you can choose to be happy, or you can wake up and choose to be grumpy. That's going to set the rest of your day and your attitude. So which one do you want to choose?
Be happy, but no, I don't think they need the
I
grumpy.
know.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
We're
but I'm
not
just
worried about you
saying-
being grumpy,
but
but yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying you can wake up and say, hey, these are things I'm
You
doing
get
today.
look, you get to choose your
Correct.
future. Yep.
And or I'm just sit here and dwell.
Now, overall market absorption, I mean, days on market, or I'm sorry, yeah, not days on market. I apologize, kind of thing. Months of supply on market. We are trending up, right? We're sitting at 3.1 months of supply in Georgia MLS, 2.5 in FMLS. However, we need 6 months to have a balanced market. So we're still not there. We're still in a seller's market, currently right now. But we are heading towards a more balanced market, which is a good thing across the board there. So now at the same time, the number of closed listings, that's still down, but we are seeing that number get closer and closer every single month. We feel that January is really going to blow this thing out of the water. Same thing with all of our pending sales. We've been wearing that down every single month as well. How about foreclosures? Okay, last year there was 8. This year there's 9. So our foreclosures, something that's always going to be in our market. Yes, but still historically we are at some of our lowest foreclosure and lowest defaults that we've ever had. Now during the pandemic, yes, it was lower, but there was also moratoriums in the same place.
There was hardly any foreclosure
Yeah.
during pandemic.
So there'll always be some foreclosures. Is there a wave of foreclosures coming? No, because people are paying their mortgages.
So if you watch the news back in January this year, you can see last year we had absolutely almost no foreclosure. As of January, we had 9 units.
Yeah.
And so therefore, are we up 900 times? Absolutely. Yeah. But look at your basis for the derivatives that you're touting.
Yeah. Now, one thing we want to talk about is the power of homeownership. It's getting to the point where I feel like the millennials need to understand, like so many folks, and we've been hearing a lot of people talking about, you know what, we're just going to rent. We're just going to rent. Look, home ownership is so important for families. It's so important for a lot of things, but home ownership remains the #1 feature of the American dream. Owning a home, being able to retire, having a successful career, all those are important, but the most important is still owning a home. People still want to own homes. And so being able to talk about that is a very important feature for being able to get people engaged and talk to them about their real future. Also, Americans think that when they say, if you just go to America and say, what's the road to riches? #1 thing.
Real estate.
Own real estate, right? So it's a really important piece of that piece. Here's the biggest deal, though. Average homeowner net worth is 40 times greater for a homeowner versus a renter. So you can be a renter with it right now. The average net worth for a renter is around $10,000 versus $400,000 for homeowners. And this is just, if you just took all the homeowners and averaged out their net worth and all the renters and averaged out their net worth, that's what it is. So which group do you want to be part of? Do you want to be part of the group whose average net worth is $10,000 or $400,000? It's not even a question worth asking, but this is something important to share with your clients and talk about the power of home ownership. Now, one thing we hear a lot, or for us personally, is the idea that buying a home, it was so much easier back in the day. Look, the gap in net worth between homeowners and renters has always existed. At times it's higher and lower, but you can kind of see that the renter's net worth, what's happened to the renter's net worth for the last, 40 years?
If you look at that green line down the bottom, it looks like a little caterpillar.
Yeah. How about the net worth for homeowners? Yes, it's moved for different market fluctuations and things like that, but still it's substantially different.
But even
right?
if you look at the crash in 2000, 2008,
Yeah.
Right now, if you retained a home, you're almost twice.
You're so much better off. Yeah.
Than what you were.
But see, here's the challenge though, is that right now the gap in net worth is widening even more, right? So that gap, it used to be where it's about $250,000 was the average net worth for a homeowner and around $7,000, $8,000 for a renter. Well, now that gap in there is getting bigger. So it's more important than ever to help folks stop renting, start buying. Because I feel that with us, well, I feel that the millennials are coming back into the market. The vast
They are.
majority of our millennials are renting. And so this is an important thing to be able to share with
There's
your
a lot of
clients.
pent up demand just because the interest rate's been so
Yep.
high that the buyers are willing to buy, but it's got to be where it's affordable.
Yep. So in addition to that, as far as like what percent of your net worth is your home, the lower the income family it is, the more important that or a bigger piece of their overall net worth is represented by that home.
Correct.
Owning homes, owning real estate is the path to wealth in the United States. And so if you want to help people change their lives, if you want to create generational wealth, buy homes.
Mhm.
It's the number one thing we can do. But what do our renters look like today? And so right now, overall, all renter households, about 30% of them have kids. More renters have dogs and cats than actual homeowners, especially cats. So are we going to have to deal with pets more? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Look, and look, our renters today will care about where their pets live. Like you have to take into account, because if they don't have kids, they have pets.
My last sale, I had a renter that says, well, we got to build a fence for the dog before you move in.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
But right now, about 60% of our renters have pets. And
Mhm.
so this is a big deal and something that we have to kind of take into account for out there.
And I wasn't laughing at that, just so y'all
Yeah.
know, we had to do the same thing.
Oh.
We had dogs.
Our
Therefore,
dogs are our babies, absolutely, kind of thing. Sometimes our kids wish they could be our dogs.
I don't know about that.
I do. Yeah. Anyway, so on your renters, a lot of folks are in small apartments, bigger apartments. However, 30% of renters are in a single family detached house. Almost a third of renters that are in a detached house are interested in buying. I mean, these are folks who are renting a home,
Mhm.
right? They know the benefits of home ownership, but they're not seeing any of the financial benefits. Well, all they're doing is paying somebody else's
It's
mortgage.
100% interest if
Well,
you think about
yeah,
it versus
yeah.
a
You want to talk about high
6.5.
interest rate? Yeah, exactly. And the other great thing here is renters, renters, when they buy, they stay in the same metro area by a large degree. About 70% of your renters, once they buy, stay in the same metro. So you're going to be able to work for them. And so there's a new study out and says that, lower rates, as the rates lower, more and more renters are going to turn into shoppers.
For sale shopper.
Right. And so that's the big deal right now. We're seeing interest rates coming down, and that those interest rates are going to be a really, really impactful for the rental market. For the folks who are renters right now, please take this into account. Going out and targeting people that rented houses 9 months ago, targeting apartments, targeting anyone that's renting, reaching out through social media, that kind of stuff. As rates come down, this is a very easy conversation to have, to say, here's the power of home ownership. This is, the average net worth. All the things that we've been sharing with you, you really need to share with your clients, because right now, these are renters who are considering moving in the next year. 43% of renters that are considering moving in the next year want to buy. Okay. So we're talking, we're close to half of the renters that want to move next year would rather buy. So this is a really big deal. And that, honestly, that number's been increasing for years. It's at its highest percentage in ever, really.
Yeah, and they truly want to buy, but it's about, this is where I see first time home buyer seminars. Or if you're on the listing side, seller seminar.
Yeah.
We have lenders, Sharon will be more than happy to host those with you.
Yeah. We're talking about renting.
Well, I know,
Right.
but
anyway,
but the renter can also, get some education on what steps they need to take in order to purchase.
All right, but our first time buyer, what are our first time home buyer challenges, right? And so even though we talk so much about interest rates, like 61% of your renters say the hardest thing is finding the right property. And that's because a lot of times we haven't built relationships with them, or they're still just using Zillow or Google, that kind of thing. 38%, it's about saving for the down payment. Understanding the process and steps is as important as saving for the down payment.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we come in, right? This is the place where we can really shine. 25, like one top 5 concerns for home buyers is paperwork. Why is understanding the process and paperwork one of their biggest challenges if they have a trusted real estate professional to work with them? Only 17% of first-time buyers are worried about getting a mortgage. It's much more about down payment. We know what's going on with there, but still understanding that these are what your clients and potential clients are concerned about. So being able to explain the process, talk about how the paperwork administratively, that kind of stuff, but really at the end of the day, we need to be sharing listings. We need to be sharing properties that are going to appeal to them. It's super important. Now, when it comes to the down payment, a lot of folks, especially our first-time buyers, like the true first-time buyer down payment percentages are actually much lower than what folks think. The average first-time home buyer is 8%, but that's the average. Of that, almost a quarter of folks pay 22%. I mean, like if you look at 0 to 5% of down payment accounts for almost 40% of first-time buyers, right? So, there are some folks who have the ability to put a lot more down, and that's great. But when you look at 40% of first-time buyers are putting less than 5% down, that's a really significant number that a lot of times these folks don't know. Well, they're using down payment assistance
There you go.
But
there are grants out there. There's a lot of county-wide grants that are available. Talk to lenders.
Yeah.
I know that
we really like the grants much better because you don't have to pay those back.
Right, those are forgivable. So there's Georgia Dream. There's always different
But
products.
that's not a grant.
It's not,
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't understand what's grant, what's not. So this is where y'all need to really sit down with a lender. If not, have a quick Zoom call and build that relationship. And once again, Sharon is part of Wildfire Mortgage Team, so please give her a holler.
Yep. Now, one thing that we wanted to kind of show you here is this is the housing ownership by generation. And you can see that right now, boomers have owned more housing than any other generation, followed by Gen X. Millennials make up it's not the smallest percentage. There's more millennials than there are silent generation. But here's the difference is that population-wise, we have more millennials than we have boomers. And so this is what I was talking about early on when I said, look, the millennials are going to be ruling the roost when it comes to housing for 2024. We need to be looking at that. I do think boomers are going to be in a great place to do, especially to sell and to even downsize some. Even though they say they want to downsize, they generally don't. But I feel that millennials have a much greater opportunity simply because we have a population of the exact same size that really wants to buy. And now that interest rates are coming down, they can afford to buy. So it's super important. Now, one place where we see some great opportunities for that is in new construction. So the share of new construction sales is massive. Historically, new construction runs in the 12 to 15% of all total transactions over the last 40 or so years has been between 12 and 15%. Today, new construction accounts for a third of all sales right now is new construction. And so if you're not familiar with new construction, you are missing the boat right now, because this is where the biggest piece, like if you broke it down into what is the largest single section, new construction is definitely a significant piece of what's going on out there. And so we need to make sure that we understand what's going on with that and that we're ready to operate inside that space. And so when you take into account that not only is new construction about a third of it, Georgia is the fourth largest number of new construction homes in the nation. All right. So we are number 4 in there, just as far as total number of new construction homes being built. And so honestly, that percentage for us here in Georgia is even higher, because that's a national number out there. But 35% of 35 to 40% of all of our transactions right now are new construction. And if you're not operating in that space, you're missing out. Now, new construction, the other thing that's very interesting about new construction is they went in and said,
what's the age group?
What's the biggest age group? And guess what the single biggest age group is? Millennials. Yeah, our millennials are the single largest age group in there. that they're looking at. Now, also, pets are a big deal for in the new construction world, just like we said about before. So, changing gears again, for sale by owner as a percentage of all home sales has dropped. And this is kind of interesting when you get down to it, right? Because, everyone out there said, gosh, for sale, I can, real estate's easy.
How easy is it, Alex?
I could get my cat could sell this house if I needed it to,
Yeah,
kind of
you
thing.
just got put on the market,
Yeah,
right?
no big deal. Just like I'm just going to stick a sign in my yard. Well, guess what? It dropped from over 10% to 7%. So it's still at some of its lowest lowest levels ever. And actually, if you look at for sale by owner, previously it made up over 20% of our market in the past, kind of thing. And so for sale by owner is dropping. At the same time, folks who use a real estate agent are higher than they ever have been before. And so like we have to understand that our roles in real estate have changed. Used to be we were the brokers, and like if you want to know what homes were on the market, if you want to know how much you should sell for, you came to me, right? But now it's like I can find all that information out online. So why are real estate agents more important now? And especially with everything that we've seen going on with lawsuits and all this other kind of stuff.
Well, the thing is too that, there's just so much noises in the background. So for informed buyer, they want to know the truth. They want to do their due diligence. And this is where we get to shine and let them know of our what's going on with the market, what's happening, and guide them through the
Yeah.
pitfalls, because honestly there's so many pitfalls. And I will tell you that they have interviewed for sale by owners in the past, and some of them regret not using
Well, the number one
agents.
regret for sell by owners is that they did it by themselves.
Right.
So, but I guess my big point here is that real estate agents are more important than ever. And Seth Wiseman, who's the counsel for GAR. He held an article, and his big thing is the sky falling, or is this just a passing storm? When it comes to like we have lawsuits going on in our world for sure. And GAR has definitely been reacting in a very positive way to protect agents. And even though all these lawsuits are going on, guess who they're coming after the brokers. They're not coming after the agents in there. And GAR has protected the agent. And we'll be real honest with you, GAR forms are protecting agents. Even if you are not a realtor, buy the forms. It's so important that you do that, because there is a lot of turmoil going on in our marketplace right now. There's a lot of questions happening. We're going to talk about contracts here in just a second, but we have to understand that with all this turmoil and all this kind of thing going on, you still want to make sure that you're protecting yourself, but don't think that like all this change, all this turmoil, don't let that get you down. Still, almost 90% of all transactions are done by a realtor. So the highest percentage ever of all time have used more realtors last year than in any time previous. So even though you think, well, the real estate's changing, the world, the sky is falling, everything's kind of going to hell in a handbasket kind of thing. Gosh, there's still a lot of great stuff going on. And so our first big piece of advice is either be a realtor and use your forms, or buy the forms. The forms are super important.
Just
I know
remember,
that we are biased for sure, but we see the difference in GAR forms are written to protect real estate agents, personal property rights, all those kind of things. RE forms are written for consumer protection only.
And RE form was created out of courtesy of the GAR and its member, because honestly, they want the RE folks to have access to some type of form.
I'm not saying that they don't work, but
it works. But the problem is that it's not updated every year. GAR form is updated every year due to the nature of the lawsuit, what the industry is doing locally, and what have you. And the special stip are written to protect its members.
Yeah, we're going to go through that in just a second. But I just wanted to start off with, how much are the GAR forms by themselves? Do you remember?
I believe, don't quote me on, I believe it's 264, if not a little bit higher this year. So you know, if you go and pay that, you might as well join the board and get the entire membership. And I
Well,
know a lot of
but
boards.
again,
do
we're
have
not trying to tell
say,
you what to do, but we are trying to say that we see the protections that are built into these as far as what's kind of been going on. And I kind of want to jump and transition over to what that means from a contract side of things. And so I want to start off talking about the commission section on the new exclusive seller listing agreement. And in here, like we have to be very conscious about how this form is written. On one hand, this form is definitely written to make sure, you know, in light of the lawsuit that's happened, and so this is definitely a reaction to that. But this is also one of those things that again protects you. And so in here it does say what's the total commission to be paid, and then either the seller directs the broker to pay or not pay a cooperating broker a portion of that commission. Now in here it also states, listen, nothing herein shall obligate the seller to the
direct a broker to pay any
Yep.
portion of his commission to a cooperative broker.
Yep.
So, and that the reason for that language is because other state where they were required, it
Mhm.
wasn't an option to pay the co-op broker. So
So-
now we have to spell it out and say, hey, you're not required.
Well, here in Georgia, we've been able to offer 0% commission or co-ops forever, right? In these other states, and that's where all the lawsuits started in other states, because in other
Correct.
states they required that not only that you pay a commission, but it has to be equal or greater to the selling broker's commission, kind of thing. And that's where the whole thing was, they're forcing me into it. And so in Georgia, we've never had that. However, here's the new conversation for listing agents is, are you ready to say it's not wise for you to not offer a buyer's agent commission? Because if you do that, there are some things that, first of all, we're not going to get any VA buyers because a VA buyer cannot pay for commission. Now there is a loophole where they can pay up to 1%, but basically
But even that 1%, you know, the lender takes their fee out of it. So
Yep.
it's actually less than 1%. So, but without getting to the loan product and the loan detail, the fact is, you know, you're gonna wipe out a lot of VA buyer who are very much a very solid buyer because they have retirement and these are benefit for them serving the
Well,
US militaries or
I think that's the one group that we have to protect. You know, the other thing is that a lot of our buyers cannot afford to pay their agent's commission out of their pocket. And so if it can't get, and they need to be able to finance that commission in. And by the way, the same way as your seller bought their home and it was financed in is the exact same thing these buyers need to do as well. And so if that seller's not going to offer a co-op, then more buyers, more agents are not going to be able, and buyers won't be able to buy that home because they don't have the cash to bring out. So we have to be ready to explain that to them, and that not that we're steering, but that now that we have to have conversations with our sellers about like this will hurt you.
This is informed decision for your seller. They definitely have the option to choose yes or no, but at the same time, let them know these are the course of action of those answers.
Well, and be comfortable saying this is why I think it's a bad idea not to pay a buyer's agent co-op.
And honestly, a smart buyer agent is going to ask for it.
Yep.
Pre-pending,
Absolutely,
before it went under contract.
But now, you know, the thing is that, you know, on the seller side, here's on the buyer side, because on the exclusive buyer engagement agreement here, you know, this is, and we're going to do something interesting. We're actually going to read the contract. So the buyer agrees to pay the broker the commission set forth below at the closing of the contract, entered into during the terms of the agreement, minus any commission paid by the broker, either the seller's broker or the seller themselves. Buyer acknowledges that neither seller nor seller's broker are obligated to pay any commission to the broker. We need to have that conversation, and it's important that we have this conversation in the beginning. Okay. The days of being able to not have an exclusive buyer engagement agreement are gone. And it's important that we understand that.
If you don't, and if this particular co-op offers 0, guess what you're doing? You're doing your service entirely for free.
Well, but if I may cut you off, it's even more important because if I don't, if you aren't my client, and then there's been some other recent changes here of can you ask when you submit a purchase and when you present an offer, can you also include a commission on it? And in the past, that was no. And so Greg has indicated that they're open to the idea that if you have an exclusive buyer agreement with your client, that now you have the ability to be able to include commission. So if I don't have a exclusive buyer agreement and I submit an offer to the property for you, I can't negotiate for that because I'm negotiating to the benefit of the buyer.
And just so you know, from a brokerage standpoint, no longer can you put 0%.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a no-no because that opened up for another lawsuit that's waiting to happen. And so therefore, and also if you put 3% of sale price, that needs to be consistent throughout your entire exclusive buyer brokerage agreement.
Now you can still make changes. You can offer rebates. You can make an amendment to the agreement, that kind of stuff.
Just so you know. And you know, if you want to make it standard language and a special step said all party agreed that the broker will reduce the commission to 2.5 should the co-op listing is less than 3%.
Now, one thing that you are going to see a lot more of,
so that's fine.
Yeah, is that we're seeing where the co-op commission agreements are being sent prior to closing, and you can do that. We're seeing where more of these are happening.
This is Form F-258,
yes.
And this is now not only this form is good for zero co-op. This is also great when you go outside your regular market because the data that's being shared by FMLS or Georgia MLS, who are there partnering up with other MLS here shortly, does not mean a share commission. Meaning, if you're not a member of Middle Georgia MLS, what's being published in Georgia MLS, Middle Georgia MLS, that the data is reciprocated to FMLS does not mean the benefit of that membership reciprocates. So this is a good form to always put out
if you're operating outside your normal area,
right? Your regular area.
Yeah, because we've seen where there's been some things written in special steps that said you're not a member of Golden Isles or this kind of stuff. Yeah. So now, this is our the standard purchase and sale. Like in the past, we've not been able to use that to negotiate commission. But now we've got two new steps that have come out. And so the first one is with the buyer requests the seller to pay the buyer's commission on a VA loan, or the buyer requests seller to pay buyer's broker commission. Now, notice how these are written because on both of these, how they start off is very important. It doesn't say agent requests seller. It doesn't say buyer's agent.
Buyer hereby requests and seller hereby agree to pay. So it's actually for the benefit of the buyer for this whole entire contract.
So be careful in how you write this special step, because if you say, buyer's agent requests you to do that, that's a violation of license law.
Yep. So I will put this up in the reference section of Papers Pipeline, so y'all will have that. But you cannot ask for commission on your behalf, right? Because that is a license law violation.
That's where the rubber meets the road, and that's what we want you to understand is to the benefit of the buyer, we can ask for the seller to pay the commission. That's for their benefit, and it's in their name that we're doing this. If you say, I want you to pay my commission, that is not allowed. Now, we can do these so long as we have a buyer brokerage agreement. So that going all the way back full circle, when I said you have to have a buyer's brokerage agreement, once you have that buyer brokerage agreement, now I can negotiate. If I don't have a client relationship, then I'm not supposed to be negotiating for commission. And so it's important that we have those buyer brokerage agreements, that they don't say zero on them, and then use these special steps. Please cut and paste. Do not write your own.
These are written by the closing attorney, so don't get creative. If you're gonna go outside of these special step, please
Yep.
consult broker before you do it.
Yep. All right. A quick update. So this past year, we ended up, and we as a company, we kind of jumped in and supported the May King Volunteer Fire Department. And I want to tell you, thank you guys very much. Now, it is this little fire department. It's a volunteer fire department in the middle of nowhere, right? And so, and what they do every year is they go out and they put Santa on a fire truck, and they go back into the sticks, into the hollows kind of
Literally.
thing. And so they wanted us to pass along a huge appreciation. They gave away presents for 12 hours. We as a company and you as agents helped us get over 240 presents kind of thing. So they had some folks from Toys for Tots jump in, and as well as us. And so they wanted us to pass along to you guys how appreciative that they were also. And I just wanted to kind of share, like that's actually them on the fire truck going out there. That they even had some, the short guy got the elf costume, the fat guy got the Santa costume. They had Mrs. Claus out there kind of thing, and so they just went out and just did presents for an entire day, and that wasn't possible without you guys. We did some charity gambling.
Well,
It wasn't gambling.
it's-
It wasn't gambling, but we did have a casino night, some other things like that.
Night. So it wasn't possible without y'all's generosity. So we appreciate from the bottom of our heart of your kindness and your generosity.
So I do want to take this thing back full circle to where all the data we showed you, this is where our expectations for 2024 come from. That the millennials are going to take the lead. They're poised to be a big piece of our market. That home prices are going to continue to rise. That new listings and new inventory is coming on the market. Sales are going to be up by 15%. Mortgage rates are coming down somewhere close to 6%, hopefully. And that the rest of them are definitely we have to control the narrative as far as what's going on with that. So we want to wrap up here with
congratulations to
you.
our agents. Our top sale agent for the year. So
Yvette had the number one, highest number of sales in the company, followed by
King, Jessica.
Yep. Letty came in at number 4. Oh, sorry.
Shoni, congratulations. Foma,
Yep.
and Jasmine and Shannon with the Kirk Realty team, and Bobby, Salithia and Amy.
Yep.
So congratulations to all of you guys, and also the breakdown for December from location perspective.
Yeah, and then the rest are our top producers by office for last month. So we really we love and appreciate you. We are here for you, but we're not here without you, right? And so like we just want to express our gratitude for working with us and letting us giving us the privilege of being able to work with you.
Being your broker.
And if you need anything, please reach out to us, engage us. Like we are here for support. We're here to help you grow your business, because the only way that we grow our business is when you grow yours. So our paths are aligned. We are in the same place, and I just appreciate you guys so very, very much. So we love y'all, and I know
it's Q&A really quick. Just look at it and answer it maybe.
Yeah, if anybody has any kind of questions, you can put it in the chat, or you can put it in the Q&A.
Q&A, because chat goes by pretty quick.
So, the first one here, let's see.
Well, how much is the GAR form, which is I believe, don't quote me on it, 267, I believe.
Yep. And then how much is GAR membership for the year? That one is going to be dependent on your local. On what you're
on the average, I think the cheapest was around by $5.25.
I think it's some in the 4s kind of thing, somewhere in that $400 to $500 range.
East Metro Board Association Realtor is probably the cheapest.
Yeah, I believe they are the least expensive on there kind of thing. Let's see here.
So if y'all have it's 620 for FHA.
I had a couple of folks.
You got a score.
That,
Sharon, I'm not sure Sharon's on.
Yep.
Oh, so Levi just told me the MSAR was under $500 for him.
Okay, great.
So that is great. Thank you, Levi. I appreciate that. And Mark Brown says 620 for FHA only. technically you can do 580, but understand a lower credit score, the more money you gotta bring to the table.
Oh, and
So
the higher their interest rate's going to be also.
absolutely. So it doesn't make sense not to have that lower credit score. Mo has a question I think she raised right there.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're looking at dual screen. So if
Yeah.
we look like we're not.
Yeah.
Mo, you're online.
Hi, good afternoon. I was going to go back on that buyer's exclusive agency. So let's say that, when we negotiate the buyer's exclusive agency and then say the listing is only offering us 1%.
Mhm.
And I know you said on the new GAR forms that we can negotiate that, so we can do the difference in it. Say if we wanted to ask 3% and the seller was only offering 1%.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm clear on that.
Yeah, so long as you have a buyer brokerage agreement, then you have the ability. But the only trick here is make sure that it's for the
benefit of the
buyer. It's and I know it's like a small little caveat there, but that's the trick is if it's to the benefit of the buyer, then we have the ability to do that. If it's for your benefit, then no.
Now,
So it has to be for the benefit of the buyer.
that's against license law. All right. Rafaela, I muted you. You had a question.
Well,
All right. Mark Brown asked special step 620. I'm not sure. What do you mean by special step 620?
I believe he was asking for the number. Is that right, Mark? What you're looking for? Yeah. Special SIP
Oh,
620.
I will have these up a little in reference section. It'll call 2024 special step and co-op commission. And so that way y'all can just search in reference section Papers Pipeline on 2024. Okay.
Oh, he's asking, does it apply to FHA only? No.
Now so the 619 is for VA, 620 is for everybody else.
Yep.
Okay, so hopefully that works. Sherry asked, can you explain again about not having 0% of buyer brokerage agreement? Okay, so if you're saying that you work for free, guess what? You can't go back.
You may literally work for
You
free.
literally work for free. So you can't go back requesting seller for buyer's benefit because you never had that agreement with the buyer.
Well, if you put down 0, so let's just say that you put down 0 and the buyer agrees to 0, and then that seller is offering 0 co-op, right? The buyer has to have the ability to agree how much is going to be paid through that, the same as the seller does. And so by if you put in 0 and the seller puts in 0, well, at that point you've agreed to work for free. Basically,
you literally did.
I mean, like and not only that, you're contractually obligated to work because the seller is offering 0 co-op and the buyer is offering zero fees. So,
and Sherry, you said this is new. Not really, because
it's one of those where it's a change in how we do business for new agents. That a lot of new agents who are coming in, that's always kind of been the case. But for like if you've been in the business for any amount of time, it's kind of just I feel like we've taken it for granted. Like I just in the back in the day, I never had to
justify my worth.
Yeah, and
I do.
Well, not just justify your worth, but I never like in the past it was kind of like, yeah, I'll worry about the buyer brokerage later. There was always a co-op included. That's not the case anymore. Now, the fact is if you don't do that, you may be setting yourself up to work for free. In the past, that really like the number of listings that had 0 co-op was like. There was like 3 in the state. Okay. And so now, and I'm not seeing a big influx of these coming in, but there are some, and I'm seeing where not that there's zeros, but I'm seeing where there are a lot more that are coming in at lower commission rates than they used to.
I've seen $1 and $2. And we have agent asked us in the past, is there a mistake on that listing? I say, no, there's no mistake at all. That is all they're offering.
Yep.
So Roberta asked, is there going to be a class specifically to go over commission structure again in more detail?
We've been doing lunch and learns in the different offices to be able to address that. And so Ming and I've been coming in, grabbing lunch and just kind of being able to kind of role play and talk through some of these things in the different offices. We've already done it in the McDonough office and we'll probably do it again. But right now we're trying to rotate our way around.
If you come to my 2024 GAR contract,
that's another one. Yeah.
we will have a discussion on that and the reason why we're doing it, just because I want you guys to be comfortable in your own skin and providing what your net worth is, because until you get comfortable, you're not gonna be comfortable with your client. So, this is how I look at different things and, y'all need to practice. Y'all
Yeah.
need to practice on each other. And also, for those of you that has accountability in your offices, practice on each other
Oh,
because
we have
at the-
accountability in
we all-
every office, 9 a.m. every Monday morning. So
yeah, so come to them if you can. We would love to see you because engagement is the key. If you don't engage, you're not gonna know.
and again, sorry about the weird format. So we
Well-
appreciate you guys kind of rolling with the punches here, kind of thing.
And
But
it was more important for us of your safety
and our staff,
and our
you know,
staff,
like
because I was actually out in the rain for about an hour and a half, and there were multiple spots for hydroplane. And so I call it out and say,
Yeah.
let's change our format
Yeah.
just because this is not wise. So the office is closed for the day, but we'll reopen tomorrow.
I will send. I always send this to the branch managers, and then you
The
you
question
can
is,
hit,
will you get a format of the PDF format? The answer is yes. Mackenzie will send that out once we finish this session and send it to you, all of you guys.
yeah, because I'd love for you to take some of that. I mean, there's so much great information that you can share out through social media and those kind of things. Rip off everything that you can in the presentation. We'll be glad to share that out. Each of your branch managers will have it by this afternoon, and then you can just hit up your local branch manager.
So
I think that's all we got. All right. Again,
thank y'all
thank you
very
guys very
much.
much. And we love y'all. Have a great day.
Oh, we'll have the cake in the office tomorrow. So happy anniversary to some of y'all and happy birthdays.
oh.
And I will tell you that I just want to say happy anniversary, Noonan, because this is when they first enrolled with us in West Georgia. A lot of your new agents that transfer over. So this is Mark. I think that's
we
second
do
year.
have a new question
Okay.
too, right?
Melanie is asking.
Melanie, you slid in for the end, so it worked out good. It says,
if I enter a commission on buyer brokerage agreement, do I also have to include it as a special step in the contract, or only if requesting the seller to pay on behalf of the buyer?
yeah, only if you need the seller to make up that difference in there. So if the
So
Wait,
the SS 619 and 620 you see on the what's seen on the screen earlier?
oh yeah,
You want to share that real quick again?
sorry.
So you put this actually in the purchase and sale, okay? So this is where you put your purchase and
Right,
sale.
but you're
special
only going
sale.
to if let's say that you have in there that the buyer's going to pay you a 2.5% commission and the seller's offering a 2.5% commission, then there's no need for it. But if you have a buyer that agrees to a 2.5% commission and the seller's offering a 1% commission,
Mhm.
then you would use this form as part of the purchase and sale.
So this SS 619 and 620 is for purchase and sale.
Yep.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Well, thank you all. Have a wonderful
Day.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'll try to stay dry and warm
right.
because it's kind of chilly.
Bye, guys.
Have a great day.